If I could flip my magic wand and say, hey, I could turn you into a profitable trader, but the sacrifice you'd have to make is you'd be bored half the time, would you do it? For a lot of people, they say, yeah, that's a simple answer. However, I will say people's actions don't say that. I get a lot of phone calls when I work with people one-on-one. They initially have a phone call. Not everybody books with me to do one-on-one sessions that I do for 3 months at a time, and I work with people. The people that do actually develop great skill sets and mindsets and how to really approach things in terms of a process. But the people that sometimes just kind of, call here and there, what often happens is they're sometimes looking for just a dopamine high. What they're doing is they say, you know what, I like to trade the short durations. I like to trade the 1 day, the 0 day, the 5, 10 day. Anything over 10 days feels boring for me. I don't want to do the 10 day. And what I typically see is that they're getting what they actually want from trading. They say they want profitability, but really what they want is actually more of an arousal. They want a little bit of a high from trading, the little form of excitement. And that's the irony behind it, is they don't see that happening. So I want to share this with you because what happens these days is, over the last 15 years, as cell phones continue to develop, there's a lot of phone attachment that goes on. You see a lot of parents going in and, when the kids are at lessons, they're on their phone nonstop. I was going to tennis lessons, and me as a parent, I go help pick up balls. I mean, as simple as that sounds, it helps the kids out, especially when they're young. But a lot of other parents just kind of sit in the waiting room, play on Wi-Fi, and so on. When I go to karate lessons, my kids are doing the martial arts with their instructors, I do the stretches. I might do some stretching nearby as well. A lot of other people, they're sitting on the devices. So with the cell phone attachment, we're looking for kind of a dopamine rush that's starting to create. And what we're trying to really do is we're trying to look for some arousal or some form of meaning. And you're looking for this meaning or purpose of life as you're scrolling. You're looking for meaning. When you're bored, what's happening is you lose that meaningful purpose. And unfortunately, in trading, this is what's also happening: is people are looking for, well, I need to put it on this trade because I'm trying to get some form of excitement and so on. So the issue with boredom really is it creates a lot of distractions. So when you become bored, you're starting to get distracted into this way or that way, and you're not really focused on your process of trading. One big way to solve this is to go ahead and practice boredom. Practice being bored. Maybe just sit and look at the wall as a starting point. Practice standing in the longest line possible at the grocery stores, rather than trying to rush through things. Let's say, hey, let me choose the longest line possible. And let's see how you handle that, being patient, allowing things to kind of set up in the same way with trades. So this is the same thing where when we start looking at trades and we start looking at putting on, like, let's say an SPX position, people put on a lot of positions like all at once, or they'll do 20 contracts at once. I say, look, if you don't want to be bored, or one way to combat boredom here, you can see I've got GoDaddy here with one share. Well, what a lot of people might do is when they go into the shares, they'll go into they try and buy 100 shares right away. But instead of doing it this way, why not take the longer approach? Why not say, you know what, I'm going to buy those shares and I'm going to go ahead and do some practice. It's kind of like practicing tennis or something along those lines. And I'm going to go ahead and submit that order, and boom, there, I sent in one share. And then I'll go ahead and I'll do that again, and we'll send that in. And if you want to speed up the process, maybe you don't want to change that every time. But yes, this can make things a little more efficient if you like. But this is why I like things a little bit, call it smaller lot sizes. Sometimes I'll just rifle off. Hey, you know what? Let's shoot another one. All right. Yeah, no problem. Let's shoot another one. So what you're doing is you're slowly making sure that every time your brain has a trigger and process, do you still want this trade? Do you still want this trade? And you could be looking at the chart, but what you're doing is you're combating this, that every time you still want that trade. And it teaches you to be patient, to keep hitting it, I do this a bunch of times. Over time, what's going to happen is you're going to train your brain to become active to be able to do that. Now, unfortunately, the mind has a tendency to be a lot in autopilot. So you might say, you know what? I did a bunch of these. Man, this is like doing a workout, right? When you're doing like dumbbells and so forth. It's like, man, I've got a workout. It's like, I clicked that a bunch of times. Let me check my position. Let me check how GoDaddy is doing here. Oh, okay, still going up. Okay, so this is good. Okay, well, let me keep going. I'm going to keep working out, So this, ironically, by just taking the slow approach, being comfortable with being bored and allowing things to work. Okay, am I still doing 111? Okay, good. Getting filled on GoDaddy. Yeah, okay. Can actually convert you into better profitability. Look at that. I'm up to 12 contracts. Now, you could keep going up until you get to 100. I mean, it'll take you a little while. And you might say it's a waste of time. The thing is you're really trying to train your brain to keep taking shots. Whether that's you play tennis, you keep taking shots. You don't just take one big shot, boom. Sometimes you be patient. If you do bowling, try to be consistent. If you do golf, the same thing, the stroke, you try to be consistent, the breathing, everything. Any sport, martial arts, you try and be consistent, work that process. Make sure the process is concrete. Do you really know if that stock's going to go up or down? Not really, but you can double check. Okay, if these are working, continue to work it, right? If the punches are working and you're working out, great, continue to do them. If today's working your arms, great, work the arms. If today's legs, work the legs. So you keep working. If you're riding a bicycle and cycling, work your cadence. If you're swimming, keep the same stroke, the breathing, rotating the head, everything. It all flows together. And the same thing here in trading. Keep the flow going. The issue is people get bored and they drift their mind in a whole nother place. And then they get into large positions to stimulate themselves. So it's like, okay, I only got 12. I mean, I need to get a little bit more substance to get a little feeling of excitement. So then, they'll pack on, well, let's just go with 350 in this case. So we'll send a little bit more compared to 12. 350 seems like a larger sum. Oh, okay, now great, I'm up to 362. Okay, now that's got some meaning. So if I go down a buck, I lose 430. But if I go up, I mean, I could make $2,000. And this is the issue with a lot of people, is they're always looking at profits to get that stimulation or high feeling. But really, instead, looking at those losses can be a little bit better. And if you focus on the boredom side of those things, you'll be a lot better off, because training yourself to be patient for the setups, training yourself to be mentally prepared for the boredom that comes your way. Because sometimes stocks are just moving sideways. They're not doing diddly squat. They're just kind of wiggling around, moving around, and then they're building cause, building energy, and then they might pop or explode. But in those cases, what are you doing? Well, for me, this is where I film YouTube videos. This is where I coach people, work with people periodically. And that's what I like doing in those cases, because it helps fulfill that void, you could say. And in your case, you'll have to find that as well. And this is where I also do the batting practice, where you're going in and you're shooting, another stock and another share, and you go shoot another one. Then you keep hitting them. You're like, okay, do I still want it? Buy 103. Okay, let's try and hit 103.66. Let's see if we can make it. Okay, go. See, that one hit. Let's try and hit 164. Can I get a better deal? Okay, so work the deals, work the orders. Can I get 165? Didn't get 164. Let's try 165. So you're practicing consciously to see if you can hit it. Anyways, I just wanted to share that with you in terms of boredom, just because I've had some conversations here regarding those concepts and topics of boredom. It's a lot of, call it mental digestion of yourself, awareness of yourself, and how you're behaving and how that behavior could be changed. And if that behavior changes, you could actually turn into profitability. Now, I'm not saying, again, 0 days is bad or 2 days is bad, but if that's the only thing you're attracted to and you're trying to get a high from it and you find the other stuff boring, actually shows something about yourself, that you're not patient enough probably within your trades. So it's also one of the reasons you might not be profitable. There might be other reasons, but it could be a big reason. So be mindful of that. You have to learn to spread positions, learn to sit in positions, learn to be patient for the right setups. There's a lot of proper positioning yourself to line things up so that way things are in alignment and work in your favor when it comes to the trades. Anyways, hope that helps, opens your mind up a little bit. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Anyways, thanks for joining me. Check out the website, get some freebies. book a 20-minute call if you want to chat, and we can go over you personally. Anyways, I'll see you next time. Take care.